YOLO, amazing people of the tubes. I want to tell you guys the funny story of how I got married, which is very fucking unique in terms of modern times. So, I am Armenian, and we have a certain culture, right? As everybody does. Now, back in the days, people were able to, like, let's say you really liked a girl and you wanted to marry her, but her family wasn't okay with it. If this girl loved you, what you would do was you would run away with her, right? I don't know the actual term. It's not like a runaway bride. It's not hitching. It's like between the two, right? So she would run away with you. You would take her for a week, and then you would come back and you would present to the family that, you know what, now we are wed. We are together, right? And it has to do with virginity and all this stuff. So it's like this old concept. Now, mind you that my family comes from the second largest city in Armenia, right? Which is Lenaga. And within that city, my family comes from like the hood of that city. Like, that's where all the world-class wrestlers, the Olympians, all the crazy motherfuckers that actually amounted to wild shit, like, they all came from there. It's like, as far as Armenia is concerned, it's like the Compton of over there. It's like the hood. You know what I'm saying? So, but I'm raised in LA. I'm raised in East Hollywood, North Hollywood. Like, this is home. So I meet my wife in America. She's over here as just visiting, and I meet her, and she stays over my house, and I have no fucking idea that she's gonna stay over my house, because I live with my pops, or we live together as grown men. But he's like, yeah, we're gonna have a distant relative of sorts that's gonna stay with us. I found out the day of, and this has happened many times, and usually I don't give a fuck because it's someone way older than me. It's someone I have no interest in. But I walk home to this gorgeous girl, right? And instantly I'm like, dude, how are you related to me? And we get into, like, I was like, I got a piece of paper and a pen. I'm like, dude, I need to know how you're fucking related to me, right? And in English, we don't even have a fucking word for how we're related. We drew out the entire family trees and shit. She's like my, like, 8th or 12th cousin. You know, like, so far removed. Like, I can't even really say she's my cousin. You know what I'm saying? Because when you say cousin, people think like, all right, 1st, 2nd, 3rd. Like, no, I'm talking about 8th, 9th, 10th. Somewhere in the far vicinity where, like, if she was in America and she was my, like, 8th cousin or 10th cousin, it would mean we never had contact. I never met you. And I hadn't met her, right? So, being from that small town of Armenia, I had to find out, like, who is this girl? Is she related to me? Because she's kind of hot, and it's not kind of, the thoughts I'm having might not be okay for me to have, right? And I finally find out, you know, like, no, these thoughts are okay. You know, we're so far removed. It's all good. You know what I'm saying? So she ends up going back to Russia, because that's where she lives. Even though she spawned from the same city type of shit, right? In terms of family and whatnot. And I stay in contact, and the contact, it grows, and we become really attracted to each other and get to know each other over like a year or two of just talking and Skyping and FaceTiming and all this stuff, right? And she's like, yeah, you know, I'm gonna go to visit Armenia during summer of whatever the fuck year. And I was like, you know what, man, I'm gonna come over there too. And she didn't believe it. I was like, no, man, I'm gonna come over there too. and we're gonna go and we're gonna see Armenia. We're gonna sightsee Armenia the way it should be sightsee. Meaning, we're gonna go fucking everywhere. We're gonna go get ATVs. We're gonna go to the mountains. We're gonna, like, it's not that regular. Because if you go to Armenia, usually we have really ancient stuff in Armenia. Because we're old ancient people, right? So you can go to like 20 churches a day and not run out of churches over 1,000 years old type of thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's history everywhere. So I wanted to go and see more than just churches, of which we have beautiful churches. But I wanted to see, like, you know, the mountains, the highlands, the lowlands, the different cities, the type of, you know, the waters, the everything. And we did. And we just had this blast. But the understanding we had of going to Armenia was that it was going to be a deciding factor of, do we want to push this to another level? So my understanding and the communication we had was that, like, if we went to Armenia and we hit it off and we were going to go sightsee together, and if anything, I was going to bring her back to Armenia and America, and I was going to get married with this chick, right? So things never work out the way you plan. So when we're there and I'm like, dude, I want to take it, we're going here and there, you know, she still has like distant family over there. And we're a very family oriented culture, right? So the family is really like, all right, you guys can go, but you guys gotta be back like at 8 o'clock. And I'm like, dude, we're trying to see fucking Armenia. What do you mean back at 8 o'clock? Like, hey, dude, like, I'll take you and I'll pay for a separate hotel, a separate room, a separate whatever. But we're gonna go sightsee. Some of this stuff is like 3 days away. So we have to kind of go and, like, you know, if you don't mind being in the same room as me, I'll get you your own room. I'll pay for it. I'll get you a completely room on the other side of the hotel, right? And it's like, nah, you know, people talk because it's a small community, right? And it's like, no, I can't do this. And, you know, the politics of Armenian culture. And now we're like shooting politics. Like, no, I can't do this because of this. You can't do that because of that. And this is this. I was like, you know what, man? And I threw out my, like, checkmate move, which was like, all right, if we're going to talk about politics, there's one more politics out there. I can snatch you as a wife. And we were having this conversation at my cousin's house. So my cousin's wife is there, and she's slick, man. She's slick, like, really, actually slick person, man. And she's like on her side, like, nah, man, it doesn't work that way here. This. But when I was like, dude, I'm gonna snatch you as my wife, she literally face planted, like, oh shit, this did not just go there. And I was like, hell yeah, I just went there. I was like, I tell you what, give me your phone. And my future wife at the time, right, like, she gives me her phone. I go, now go unpack your bags. She's like, what? I was like, pack your bags. I'm gonna snatch you. She's like, what do you mean? I was like, that's what I mean. I have your phone. You're not gonna have any contact with nobody for a few days. My phone is gonna be off. I'm not gonna have contact with nobody for a few days. And I'm gonna snatch you. So get your fucking bags packed. And I'm taking you and I'm gonna make you my wife. And making you my wife in Armenia, like in snatching, right? Like in hitching, it means I'm gonna take you, you know, we're gonna go through our one-on-one marriage process. And the marriage process is like, I'm gonna put the ring on your finger, I'm gonna do this, we're gonna go here, this is how it's gonna work, and I'm gonna sleep with you and take your virginity and all this stuff, right? And when we come back, now people can't really say anything about this, because now I've gone through all these steps. And even if your parents were against it, now they can't be against it, because you came with me willingly. I slept with you, and we went through this process of putting the ring on the finger and this, all this other stuff like you would think of a honeymoon. Think of it like very similar to going on a honeymoon, right? Like without the wedding. So I took her on a honeymoon without the wedding. So when we come back, now it's like, hey man, like this girl is mine. She is no longer the responsibility of her parents, her father. Where normally I would go ask her hand in marriage from her father, I skipped all of that and just now I'm telling you, your daughter is my wife, right? It's like rude, and it is what it is at the same time. And I'm like, well, now you're mine. It is what it is. Now you're gonna come to fucking America with me. And she's like, what the fuck? Like, dude, I was supposed to go back to Russia. I have like a really bomb ass job, and this is. I'm like, dude, you're the one that was like, we can't do this, we can't do that. I'm not sure about even going to America and this. I'm like, now you're mine. You are coming to fucking America, And when I say mine, people like don't misunderstand it. As a culture, like the Armenian culture, yeah, you are mine. If you're my wife, you're mine. And I am yours. You understand just like when you have kids, like that's your kids, right? It's not about like property, right? Like people in America think really like, oh my God, he's claiming her like property. No, I'm claiming her no different than I claim my children. It's mine. They are mine. I dare you to cross the line. These are mine. This is my fucking wife. And the same thing for her. Like, this is my fucking husband. Go fuck yourself, right? So, I bring her back to America. Oh, before I bring her back to America, obviously I introduce her back as this, she's mine, she's my wife. And I throw this, my cousin and his family, man, they went above and beyond for us, man. Like, every fucking star lined up perfectly. We got married in Armenia. I threw this big party in Armenia. Obviously, her parents there, all the relatives, everyone there. So I threw an actual wedding in Armenia. And then we came to America. And mind you, like, I wasn't expecting to do that, but like, just out of politics, like, hey man, I'm gonna get my way. Like, I'm a dude that knows what he wants. You know what I'm saying? I'm not just joking about this shit. So, we came back to America, and a lot of people had no fucking clue. Even my closest friends, because when I decided, like, I'm gonna snatch you, and I'm gonna turn the phones off and all this stuff, like, that meant I have no communication with my friends. I have no communication with my family. So all they know is the same thing as when I returned back to the city where her relatives and stuff are. So it's like no one's the wiser, right? So hey, I call back, hey man, like, hey family, like, hey homies, like, I like snatched her up. Like, what the fuck you mean you snatched them? No one does that in like fucking the modern age. I was like, yeah man, I went like fucking real old school. And it's rare, because okay, you might do that, but it's rare for you to go to like the hood and do that. Because dude, over there it's like you're 10 years old, you're already politicking. You know what I'm saying? You're hearing 10-year-olds politicking like they're fucking adults. These motherfuckers grow up early. You know what I'm saying? And I'm talking about like, you have a disagreement with a 10-year-old, this 10-year-old is gonna verbally put you in your fucking place. Like, hold up a second, homie. Like, you know, whoop-de-whoop, you're wrong in this way, and you're crossing your boundaries, and there's consequences, and, you know, blah, blah. Like, straight shooting politics, man. These motherfuckers are like born hood politicians, right? That's a gorgeous girl. Skinny as a doorknob. Gorgeous. Hey, I like, maybe it was a red. Hey, it is what it is. She was hot. I'm single now. Don't blame me. I'm a man. Hey, it is what it is. I know what I like. So, I come back to America and we throw a second fucking wedding. And we get married and the whole nine, and everything's awesome. And 2 years later, we end up in divorce. Mostly my fault, because, hey man, I was a single dude for a long time, and it took, I couldn't just break the cycle from like living my single lifestyle and all that to straight marriage. You know, this is supposed to take time. You know what I'm saying? Like, I had an 8-year relationship when I was young, where, you know, I went through the steps. I was engaged for 3 years. Like, it's steps, but this was like, fuck all the steps. We're just jumping to the fucking finish line. So, I fucked up in so many ways, right? And then, you know, it became like a toxic relationship. We're arguing all day, every day. Wonderful person, man. I really can't say bad things about this individual. Wonderful person. Based on the circumstances, I understand why we had all the arguments and whatnot. But I'm also a man, right? Like, and being a man, one thing as a man is like, you can't come home to aggression all day, every day. I could take it here and there and whatnot, but for me to come home to an aggressive household, meaning I'm aggressive, she's aggressive, we're yelling, we're fighting. If this is 7 days a week, 30 days out of the month, let's say fucking 363 days out of the fucking year, right? Like, as a man and as a woman, but especially I'm speaking from my perspective. As a man, it's like, dude, I can't do this, man. Like, maybe being single is just bad. I'd rather maybe come home to myself. Like, you're starting to weigh the pros and cons of, like, is it better to come home to me than this beautiful, amazing, gorgeous woman that has all these amazing traits, but at the same time is like a wolf chewing on my fucking jugular? You know what I'm saying? And me on hers, right? So we ended up in divorce, sadly. And I still have nothing bad to say about this person. Amazing fucking human being. Same thing with the first girl that I was in an 8-year relationship with, and we got engaged for 3 years, and whoop-de-whoop, right? And then, like, man, years have passed, and even when we first broke up, I said nothing bad about this girl. Like, amazing human fucking being. But her family, go fuck yourself. Eat a dick. Suck my dick. You know what I'm saying? Like, her family is a different fucking story. Like, you motherfuckers, go fuck yourselves, right? And I told her, man, like, these motherfuckers are horrible fucking shitty people on this fucking planet, and I hope they crash and burn to death. And sadly, she had one fucking family member. One out of distant cousins and like dozens and dozens of people. She had one solid family member. Turns out, he's a homie of my homies. I didn't even know after this kid died, man. Dude crashes his bike, burns to death. me going to see one of my best friends. I find out about this, man. I'm like, dude, I said I want them to crash and burn, but I didn't mean that one. That was like the fucking token family member, the poster child. So, as the family goes, it's like, man, like, I felt kind of shitty because those words came out of my mouth, like, I hope they crash and burn. And this dude actually crashed and burned. And he was a solid fucking human being. You know, he was the only person that was like, look, I understand what you guys are going through. That's my relative. I know you. You're good people, man. I'm not picking sides. You know, I'm staying neutral. If you need my help, ask me for it. If she needs my help, she can ask me for it. And I'll be there as a solid person. Everybody else was just like, I'm gonna stir the pot. I'm gonna fucking start talking shit. I'm gonna spread fake rumors. And everyone else was like, what the fuck is going on here, dude? Like, where did all this fucking negativity fucking come from? You know what I'm saying? Like, I was never negative to you guys. Like, where the fuck is all this fucking make-believe bullshit coming from? Right? And the token fucking in the... Anyways, man, so up until today, I'm not mad at that girl. It is what it is, you know? Like, great people. It is what it is. Never saw her after we broke up. I never looked for her. I never tried to... Like, it's over, it's over. But anyways, so that's the story of me getting married, man, which is a hell of an interesting story. Even for Armenians, it's not every day you get to snatch a wife. That's like some real old school shit. And I pulled it off in a place of Armenia where it's really hard to pull some shit. You know what I'm saying? Because everybody's on that like hood politics type of shit. And I did it, man. I did it, and I'm proud of it. And even when we got married, that was like one of my highlights. Like, hell yeah, man. Like, I snatched my wife. Fuck yeah, you know, like, it felt good, you know. As a man, like, you take yours, you know what I'm saying? In the most respectable type of way. I don't mean it in a disrespectful way. If you see this ex-wife, if you see it, then, you know, it is what it is, man. You know, I still got love for you. Ain't nothing taken away from it. It's just a great story, and it's rare, so I wanted to say it anyway. If you don't like me saying this shit, fucking hit me up. I'll delete it. It is what it is. But yeah, hey, as a man, even if it's not my fault, it's always my fault. I'm a man. I'm the one that's supposed to carry burden. Right, wrong, indifferent. And believe me, I was wrong in a lot of places. As a man, I can acknowledge my mistakes. But as a man, I shoulder 100% of the burden. It is what it is. So, solo yolo bolo, you guys have a wonderful day. Yeah, don't snatch wives in America. It doesn't work the same way. It might backfire on you. YOLO. Peace.